what is it that makes us Reformed Jews? Is it what we do as Jews? How much or how little that defines us? Are we Reformed because we do less than conservative Jews and less still than our Orthodox counterparts? Or is there something more to it? If Reformed Judaism is based on the central idea of informed choice, deciding what to do based on learning and experience, then defining who we are is not based on our level of observance, but rather on our reason for such observance. It is a matter of why, rather than how much. It is this important distinction that is central to how we view Judaism in general, and this week's Torah portion in particular. The portion called Yitro is best known for the episode of the giving of Torah to the Israelites on Mount Sinai. How we read and understand this portion may possibly be the single greatest reason for division between our Orthodox and non-Orthodox Judaism. To better illustrate this, let me share with you two midrashim. You may have heard me mention them before, two rabbinic parables about the giving of Torah. And now these are not passages meant to be taken as literal truth, but rather to teach a lesson and clarify what is happening in the Torah itself, based loosely on the portion. The first midrash says that God did not actually approach the Israelites first when wanting to give human beings the Torah. God initially went to many nations one by one. And God said to the first nation, "Will you accept my Torah?" And they replied, "What's in it?" And God said, "It says you shall not kill." And they said, "Sorry, we can't accept that. We kill. It's part of who we are. We can't accept the Torah." So God went to another group and said, "Will you accept my Torah?" God said, and they said, "What's in it?" And God said, "In the Torah it says you shall not steal." And they said, "Sorry, we can't accept the Torah. We steal. It's part of our culture." And this happened nation after nation after nation. Everyone refused the Torah because of what was in it. Finally, it says God came to the Israelites. And God said, "Will you accept my Torah?" And their answer was, "Na'aseh v'nishma." We will do and we will hear. And in other words, that means that the Israelites were willing to accept first, without question. And then we would find out the details. And so we are told that is why God gave the Torah to the Israelite people. That's one midrash. The second midrash says that when the Israelites were camped at the foot of Mount Sinai, God actually picked up the mountain and held it over the entire camp, as if by a string, and held it over them and said, "If you accept my Torah, great, but if not, drop the mountain on you." And with the mountain hanging over them, you can guess what they said. They said yes. Okay? Now, with these two midrashim, what we see are two extreme ends of a spectrum when it comes to the acceptance of Torah and God's role in our lives. On one end, there is acceptance without question, an act of pure faith. And on the other, there is acceptance only due to sheer force, with no real thought or choice. The question for each of us is, where do we stand on that wide spectrum? For some Jews today, Torah is accepted without real thought. It is followed because it is believed that being Torah true Jews is the only legitimate way of expressing one's religious beliefs. Since God literally wrote the entire Torah word for word according to this approach, there is ultimately no room for questioning. Yes, there can be debate about interpretation, but in the end, one's viewpoint must accept the Torah's contents as infallible. According to this strict belief system, it would be chutzpahdik to go against what God is telling us to do or not to do. Out of a sense of faith, those who truly believe and can accept all of the Torah as literal document are comfortable, therefore, to overlook questionable passages, repetitions, and even contradictions. But for most liberal-leaning Jews, seeing the Torah as literal truth, both its stories and the rituals we are told to follow, may be too much to ask. Perhaps there are even those who do not genuinely accept Torah at all. They may feel like the Israelites under the mountain, that Jewish tradition has been forced upon them by parents, by teachers, by institutions. And having no positive, compelling reason to accept Jewish teaching, they remain skeptically or bitterly in the camp or escape at the soonest possible moment. And this is, regrettably, one point of view, but certainly not the way things have to be. So there are two extremes. But my guess would be that most of us find our religious comfort zone somewhere in the middle. We have neither blind faith nor complete skepticism. We are open to and seek to understand the value of Torah, its ability to guide us and connect us to something beyond ourselves, community, spirituality, history, and future generations. We often marvel at how Torah relates to our lives, even thousands of years after it was written. And one of the prayers we recited tonight, as we do at each service, gives us insight into the importance of the balance between blind faith and skepticism. Regarding the Avot ve'imahot prayer, the one at the beginning of the Tefillah section, it has been asked, why do we say in that prayer both Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu? We say our God and God of our ancestors. We say our God, the answer is given, because a faith with no personal relevance or connection is meaningless. Yet we also say God of our ancestors because our faith needs to be rooted in tradition, or else finding some other belief system might easily replace it. We are God's partners in shaping our lives and world. We look to our past for guidance and inward to our hearts for inspiration. Only by combining the two can we form an ideal balance. And the commentary on this Avot ve'imahot prayer goes on to say that when we pray, we say God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, rather than simply saying God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we do the same for our matriarchs, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Each of our ancestors carried on a tradition taught by his or her parents. But each person also had to find his or her own relationship with God. God is one, but experienced differently by each of us. Tradition teaches us, as we read in our portion this week, that Torah was revealed at Mount Sinai as a singular event in history. But revelation does not need to be seen only through this lens. Modern thinkers have asserted that Torah was not revealed at one point in history, at Mount Sinai. It is continually revealed to each new generation and each individual as we study and hear its words together. Its teachings remain rooted in tradition, connected to our past, but they can also be fresh and meaningful to our lives today as Jews in the modern world. May this Shabbat allow us the opportunity to pause, to refresh, and to listen to the ancient words of Torah as they are revealed anew to us, just as they were revealed to our ancestors and hopefully will be continued to be revealed to our descendants. And by so doing, may we fulfill our role as God's partners, making Torah a part of our daily lives. Shabbat Shalom.